Hi, okay, so today I'm showing you my 4-track multi-tracker from Fostex. I bought this in 1984 for $500. It came with a battery pack. I think it took about 8 or 10 C-cell batteries. It just bolted on the back there, those two screws. Very easy. Also comes with the power pack that plugs in the wall. It came with instruction manual, French and in English, and lots of how-tos and how to use it and little hints here and there, that sort of thing. Very handy. Also, and what else? Oh yeah. So like I said, it's got this brochure right there. Another thing that I liked was it showed you a lot of the stuff that you can buy, or you could back then. You know, eventually I got the 8-track reel-to-reel. Mine had LED readouts, not the VU, but a lot of like sound processing equipment, digital delay, you know, equalizers, that sort of thing, you know, stuff like that. You know, there's a 16-track right there, you know, stuff like that. So, anyways, uh, great little machine. Records 4 tracks, but unfortunately, like I said, only 2 at one time. So, what I used to do with this thing, well, first of all, I'll tell you a little bit more about it. It's got the pan controls right there, so you can move it. Let's say you got a guitar on track 1, you can move from left to right, get that stereo effect. Equalizers right there, you know, bass, treble, gain up here, faders right there. Punch in, punch out. You hook a pedal up to that for punching in. I used to just punch in by hitting the button. We've got the volume, pitch control right there, headphones, input jacks for microphone, input jacks for line in for putting in a drum machine, you know, electronic devices like a synthesizer, line out for mixing down to another tape deck, and 4 separate line outs for each track. So let's say you got a guitar track on track 1, and you decide you want to add some echo, just have the line come out like that, just a line out like that, plug it into a pedal, and then the pedal into the mixing board or another tape deck, and that's how, or even record it back on one of these tracks, and you can add the effects that way as well, even after it's been recorded. So I did all kinds of stuff with this machine. I used it to its full potential, believe me. I learned a lot about recording by having this, and it was a great little machine. I did buy a little mixer one time from Radio Shack, and this is it's cheap, it's junk, right? But I used this for well, maybe a couple of months anyway. Came in kind of handy. Mic inputs, line out, stereo, mono. I had this cheap little reverb. Once again, these were not very good. I eventually got a mixing board very quickly after that, but those worked, you know. To start with, I mean, I had a little home studio. It wasn't a professional, but I did record a lot of bands, so it was quite handy that way to have something, you know, because with something like this, with the 4-track mixer or 4-channel mixer, pardon me, you could plug it in and have 4 channels going in just to one track here, which was very handy. So anyways, what I used to do now. What I did do a few times, I didn't prefer this method, but I used to do it. For instance, I'd record 3 tracks. I'd get drums, bass, guitar, and then I would pan it all to the right, and I'd put it on track 4, and I'd record all 3 tracks onto track 4. And you have to practice a bit to get the levels right, you know. So once you got the levels right and you're happy with it, then you can record them all on track 4. Now, once you've done that, those tracks are locked in. So if you want to turn up the bass, you can't do that without turning up the drums and guitar and everything else. So you have to make sure you got the mix right. So once you do that, so you take 3 tracks, ping pong them onto, or bounce them, what they call it, onto track 4. And then do that again with the tracks, 2 tracks onto track 3. That's 5 tracks. Then you got 6, 7 right there. So you got 7 tracks. I used to do it that way. The only thing is, every time you move a track from one to the other, you lose a generation. You know, the sound diminishes. Now, I'm sure there's a whole generation out there. People may not know what I'm talking about, because if you grew up in the digital age, you may not know what I'm talking about. But, you know, nowadays with digital, you can bounce it around as many times as you want, and there's no signal loss whatsoever. But with analog, you would lose a little bit of sound each time, you know, a little bit of quality of sound. So you had to be careful you didn't bounce them too many times. My preferred method, and like I said, the reason they showed you this picture of Sergeant Pepper's here on the brochure along with the tape deck. There was, like I said, there's a good reason for that, good marketing reason. It's because Sergeant Pepper's was recorded on 4-track. Mind you, I think the tape was probably 1 inch thick, so much better quality, better signal to noise ratio and dynamic range, everything else. But nonetheless, it was much better than a cassette, which is what I'm using here. This is a cassette in here. Now, there it is right there. So what I used to do, my preferred method, what I really liked if I could is just record 4 tracks and not have to bounce anything. Just 4 tracks, get them right, and then mix it down. That was the best way to do it. But if you wanted to get more tracks, my preferred method was record 4 tracks onto the tape in here, and then take this and then mix everything down to a stereo machine. Now this one here is mono, but we'll pretend it's stereo. So I'd record all 4 tracks down the stereo machine. Then I'd take this tape out, and the mixed down tape, I would put that back in here, and then I'd still have 2 more tracks left, because everything would be mixed down to 2 tracks, so that would be 1 and 2. I'd still have 2 tracks. Now that's 6 tracks, 1 less than the other way, but I felt it was safer because that way I still had the tape with the 4 tracks that had not been locked in. So if something was wrong, I could just go back and I would still have those 4 tracks. So the only ones I'd have to redo would be the 2 tracks that I'm working on right now. So I always felt that was a much safer bet to do it that way. And the sound is really good too. And that's kind of the way the Beatles did it, and I think a lot of people did it that way. And actually this thing here, I think I may have bought this at Brian Wilson's garage sale, but no, I'm just kidding. But yeah, we'll have to thank those guys for all their efforts way back then. So anyways, I'm going to play a little bit here. I'm going to give you an idea what it sounds like. Now keep in mind, this is in mono. It's in mono, and the speaker is about that big, so it's not very good. So just bear with me. This band, I recorded them in July 11th and 12th. It was over 2 days in 1984. In my little basement studio I had. I didn't have a control room. We all were in the same room. I just sat through it just like this, and they were all around me recording. They were a bunch of young kids. Youngest was 17. You're going to hear him sing here in a minute. He was only 17. They're doing a song by the English Beat called Save It for Later. But they had, they were all very good, very talented, a good drummer. They were kind of a ska reggae band, so they played everything really fast, right? And after that, I'll play I Want a New Drug. It was Huey Lewis and the News. They recorded that, and they played that very fast as well. And because they were a reggae band, they couldn't get a lot of gigs, so they had to have at least a few top 40 songs in there to get more gigs, that sort of thing. I heard these guys play live. They were very good. So anyways, I recorded them in my basement over a 2-day period. They had, okay, in this particular song here, you're going to hear the drums, guitar, at least 2 guitar tracks, saxophone, Congo drums, chimes, tambourine, and a couple of vocals. Once again, bear with me because it's mono. Doesn't sound all that great, and like I said, speaker's small, so just I'll do my best here and make it sound good. So here we go.
You like it when you hit the ground. Save it for later, don't run away and let me down. Sooner or later, you hit the deck, you'll get found out. Save it for later, you run away and let me down. You let me down. I get upset, it seems you're rotten through. But what can you do? I don't know how bad you act with all those you love. Sometimes I don't try hard, just no, 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 no. Sooner or later, You like it while you hit the ground. Save it for later, don't run away and let me down. Sooner or later, you'll hit the deck, you'll get found out. Save it for later, don't run away and let me down. You let me down. You run away and let me down. Why we should suffer for this. Don't bother trying to.
Okay, so anyways, you kind of get the gist. Yeah, the saxophone was a little loud there, you know, and that sort of thing. It was really hard to mix everything, and like I said, once you get a lot of things locked in, it's you know, you can't change them. And we had very few mics at that time. Like I said, this was my only good mic. I had like Radio Shack mics. When bands came over and said, if you got good mics, bring them. They may have had one or two mics, I can't remember. And when it came to miking the drums, we mic'd the best we could with the limited amount of microphones we had. We didn't have any overhead mics for the drums, just the snare and the kick and maybe one or two on the toms maybe. And yeah, and we recorded the drums and the bass at the same time. And then we got a guitar going, and those are like our bed tracks, and we just built it from there. And so it turned out pretty good. So I'm going to play you another song here. Just bear with me while I fast forward. This here is a song by Huey Lewis in the News. The guy who's singing this one is actually the sax player. So everything was recorded except for the vocal track. He'd already done the sax track. So now he was going to do the vocals over top of that. And I'll just get this set up here. Okay, I think I'm right where I need to be. I think. Okay.
Want a new drug? Want a roll, make me sick? Want a roll, make me crash my car? Make me feel 2 feet bad. Want a new drug? Want a roll, hurt my head? Want a roll, make my mouth too dry? Or my eyes too red? Want a roll, make me nervous? Wondering what to do? One that makes me feel like I feel when I'm with you. I'm alone with you. Want a new drug? Want a roll to spell? Want a roll cost too much? All come in a pill. Want a new drug? Want a roll go away? Want a roll keep me up all night? Make me sleep all day. Want a roll make me nervous? Wondering what to do? One that makes me feel like I feel when I'm with you. I'm alone. I'm alone with you.
So anyways, there it is. You pretty much get the gist. Yeah, I always tried to buy the best tapes I could back then. You know, Max Eller, TDK. You know, the chrome tapes. That's what they recommended. And so anyways, like I said, you know, that was the very first band I recorded back in 1984. I'm surprised the tapes are still sounding as good as they do. So anyways, there it is, my friends. That's my my X-15. I had a lot of fun with this machine back then, and it was kind of nice bringing this out of the shoebox and dusting it off and listening to these tapes again. If you got any ideas as to what might be wrong, why this doesn't play, I'd be happy to hear them. Like I said, fast forward, rewinds perfectly. It just doesn't play. I'm not sure why that is. So anyways, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you watching my video, and we'll see you next time. Bye now.